Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Callie, and today I am going to be running through my May TBR, which I am so excited for. It's a little ambitious, as you can see. It's stacked. It's not from the floor, I promise, but it is highly ambitious. So without further ado, we're gonna get into it. The first one on my TBR is This Golden Flame by Emily Victoria. This is a sci-fi story following a girl named Karis who is trying to find her brother and instead runs into an automaton, or android, they call them automatons in this, who has sentient thought, which is odd. So then we kind of follow our story from there. I'm excited to get to this. This was my February Fairy Loot book, so I'm still catching up. Very excited to get to this. I heard it has really good LGBTQ representation, and I believe this is also a debut. Next on this list is one of the rereads that I want to get to this month, and as you can see, I'm currently reading it. This is Lady Smoke by Laura Sebastian. This is book 2 in the Ash Princess trilogy, where we follow Theo, who has been held captive in her own country by the people who conquered her country. And this story is about her taking back her freedom and her country. I have read the first 2 books, so this one is a reread for me. And then once I finish that, I'm gonna jump into Ember Queen, which is the one I haven't read and the finale of this series. So I'm really excited. I love Ash Princess. It is dark, very dark and violent for YA, but I love the writing and I love Laura Sebastian's storytelling. So very excited to finally finish this series off. Up next, I have Now I Rise by Kiersten White. This is the second book in the And I Darken trilogy, which is a gender-bent Vlad the Impaler. I really liked book 1 a lot more than I anticipated because our main character, Lada, is just so unique, and we're following the Vlad the Impaler kind of storyline. There's no magic. This is just straight up historical fiction, which I really enjoy. Going into this part of history. Usually I stick to one area of history, and this is kind of broadening my horizons with historical fiction, and I'm enjoying it. Up next, I will be finishing up the Dance of Thieves duology, which ends with Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is a spin-off series or duology of the Kiss of Deception trilogy that I loved, and I'm loving this as well. We're following, I believe, 6 or 7 years after the events of the Kiss of Deception storyline, and we're following different characters, and the first book was a fantastic enemies to lovers romance, and I'm so excited to see how this story concludes, because the way that the first book ended wrapped up really nicely and on a slight bit of a cliffhanger, but nothing like terribly shocking. So I'm excited to see. This is pretty thick, so things are gonna happen. I'm ready for them. Up next, I have Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray. This is the second book in the Diviners series. I read the Diviners, which I'll talk about in my wrap-up, which I believe is coming later this week or the week after, I don't remember. It was okay. I'm intrigued to see if it gets better. But I didn't care for the first book all that much. The mystery aspect I enjoyed, the supernatural aspect I enjoyed, the 1920s atmosphere I enjoyed. However, book 1 was way too long, and this one is even thicker, so I will see how this one goes to determine if I continue on with the series or not. Ending another duology this month, I have The Court of Lions by Somaiya Daud. This is the sequel to Mirage, and the final book in the duology. Mirage follows two girls. One is the princess, one is a peasant, but they look identical. So the peasant, who is our main character, is trained to be the princess's body double to go to events and basically be a layer of protection for the princess. But she's also trying to rebel and not be a part of this abusive society. I loved Mirage. It was so unique. I thought it was gonna be very, kind of during the time of like Aladdin, that kind of time frame, but it's very futuristic. There's different planets, there's an entire solar system that they're controlling, and we have galactic politics, which I wasn't ready for. And with how short these books have, it packed so much information and so much amazing storytelling and world building that it was just amazing. So I'm excited to see where this goes. And I really enjoy this author's storytelling abilities. And I will definitely be purchasing her books from now on because they're just super fun. Starting a new series, I've got Blood Heir by Amelia, I don't know how she pronounced her name. Zhao. This is a story about a princess who has blood magic. And I've heard really good things about this. The cover's gorgeous, and it's just been staring at me for so long, and I want to read it. And it's finally on this TBR, so I'm very excited to get to this book finally. Up next is another book that I've been kind of looking at for a long time and just have never picked up, and that's Heartless by Marissa Meyer. This is in the same world, I believe, as the Lunar Chronicles, but is a completely different standalone story of the Queen of Hearts, and this is her origin story. And I've heard that this is a fantastic book, and I think this is the only Marissa Meyer book that I haven't read yet. This is the last one, and then I'm caught up. And I'm ready to be hurt. I know that much happens in this book because the main thing that I've heard is the takeaway is you understand why the Queen of Hearts is the way she is. Which means a lot of bad things are gonna happen. So I'm excited. I love Marissa Meyer's writing style. The Lunar Chronicles is a fantastic retelling and just reminds me of Once Upon a Time, and I'm ready for that to be a thing in this as well. Up next, I have The Edge of Everything by Giles. This is I think more sci-fi-ish story where we're following a girl named Zoe after her and her brother are attacked in the woods, but they are rescued by this mysterious bounty hunter named X. And this bounty hunter is tracking all of these kinds of people who attack people in the woods and all of that, but he starts to fall for Zoe and starts to reveal parts of himself, which is against the rules of this bounty hunter kind of thing. As I'm explaining this sounds very If the Mandalorian Found Love kind of a thing. So we'll see how that turns out. And I believe this is a duology. So I don't know. I've had this book forever and it's finally made it up to the top shelf. So up next, Sarah and I talked about how I usually every month with her card game, I end up picking at least one book for her. And she never really picks anything for my TBR. So I figured to make it fair, each month I would let her scour my shelves and find a book for me to read that month. And for this month, she chose Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. This follows a girl who is a half kitsune, which is like a half fox kind of thing. And I love foxes. So, I don't know, I believe this is rooted in Japanese lore, and I don't feel like I read enough of those kind of retellings and stories, so I'm excited to experience something new. And those are the ones that are on my official TBR. The 3 books outside of my TBR that I have picked for this month. The first one is The Crown of Bones by A.K. Wilder. I was sold on this book because when I read the synopsis, the main takeaway I got is you're following a scribe who's following the main character. But you're in the scribe's perspective, not the main character's perspective. And that sounds hysterical and just so much fun. No idea what the plot is, but that's what I took away from this. And I just really enjoyed the cover. So I'm very intrigued to actually get to this book this month, because I think I bought this right when it came out. It might have been a pre-order. I'm trying to add more of my pre-orders to this list so that I actually get to them and they don't stay on my shelves forever. But we'll see. Next, I am going to be reading A Game of Fate by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the start of the companion series to A Touch of Darkness, also by the same author. And her next book in the Touch of series comes out at the end of this month, so I want to be caught up on the entire series before the book comes out. So this is basically A Touch of Darkness, but in Hades' perspective. I heard that the Hades perspectives are better because Persephone is kind of an annoying, whiny child, but it's fine. That's who Persephone kind of is in the mythology anyway, at least until she becomes the queen of the underworld. So I'm excited to get Hades' perspective. I also feel like with romances like this, we don't get the male perspective all that often. at least a full novel of the male perspective. There are a fair amount where they flip-flop between both genders or both the people in the couple, but not a full book in the male perspective. So very intrigued to get to this. And the last one, because I've been reading this series for my extra TBR the past couple of months, is The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the newest book in the From Blood and Ash series. I read Kingdom of Flesh and Fire during a 7-day readathon that I did just with myself. I think I finished it at like 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning and screamed because that ending was a lot. So very intrigued to get to this. I am a little scared because this just came out like a couple weeks ago, and we're not getting another one until next year, so I'm a little scared. But nonetheless, I'm enjoying this series. It's just super fun, full of romance, and that's really all I want from this, is that. The other thing, I don't know if anybody else has noticed with the hardcover editions, our little circle buddy is off center. And I'm looking at it in my camera and it's bothering the crap out of me, but all my other ones are in hardcover, so I don't want to get rid of it. So it's a good time and I'm upset about it, but it's okay, I guess. I don't know. So that is my TBR for the month of May. I've already kind of got started on it, obviously because I'm filming this way later than I want to. And that's gonna be it for today's video. So please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. We post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And I will see you guys in our next video. Bye!